This is Professor Jeffrey Sachs, and his words are so strong, and he's always brilliant. Professor Jeffrey Sachs, I believe he's from Columbia, right? And hugely popular, but of course they don't want to allow him on mainstream media anymore. They've essentially, he's like Noam Chomsky was back 20, 30 years ago, saying very important stuff, hugely respected professor, but they do not want him on the mainstream media. And here's why.
Israel has deliberately starved the people of Gaza. Starved. I'm not using an exaggeration. I'm talking literally starving a population. Israel is a criminal, is in nonstop war crime status now. I believe in genocidal status. And it is without shame, without remorse, without truth, without insight into what it's doing. But what it is doing is endangering Israel's fundamental security, because it is driving the world to believe that the Israeli state is not legitimate. This will stop when the United States stops providing munitions to Israel. It will not stop by any self-control in Israel. There is none.
So well put by Professor Jeffrey Sachs. It's being done. This genocide is being perpetrated without insight, without remorse, without grief. And to me, it's in many ways a trial run for whether the U.S. empire, again, Israel's part of the U.S. empire, whether the U.S. empire can get away with genocide and not see any ramifications, any large-scale ramifications. I do think we're seeing large-scale ramifications, and they will continue. And I think this is, the death knell in many regards for Israel as an apartheid state. I also think this is the end. This is one of the symptoms. It's a symptom of the U.S. as a waning empire, long past being some sort of moral representative, of moral high ground or something like that. The U.S. has thrown away any of that if it ever had it. And I do think there are going to be ramifications. But the West is kind of testing, can we legitimately genocide a people and not really be held to account, as long as we're able to veto everything at the UN, and as long as we're in charge of the monetary sources? This is why the petrodollar allows for this type of action, because the U.S. and Israel, because Israel, is also dollar-based because it's connected to the U.S., the U.S. and Israel continue to have tons of power due to the amount of money they have due to the petrodollar. But anyway, wanted to highlight those excellent words by Jeffrey Sachs. And it shows there are the academics around the world are also standing up, speaking out, fighting back. Those who aren't, by the way, which let's remember that 99.9% of academics, of the tops of our society, the so-called smartest people in the room, in the world, are silent on this, which is so fucking sick. It is breathtaking that all the professors across this country, across the world, that claim to be so educated, so advanced, so progressive, and here they are silent on genocide. They should look at Jeffrey Sachs and wonder why they aren't speaking out in that way. It really is disgusting in that regard. The cowardice of it, amazing.